It used to be a very dangerous virus, my dear friends. Have you heard the name? It is Nipah virus. Welcome to 𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗵. The discussion for today is going to be Nipah and polio. Have you heard this name before? Nipah. It used to be a very dangerous virus that used to hijack your brains, just like your girlfriend or your boyfriend has done just now with you. Welcome to 𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗵 with Dr. PrPsc. I am your microbiology faculty. We are discussing central nervous system and this is 5th session and the topic for today is Nipah virus and prions. My dear friends, these both the topics are very important. Let's have a very quick view over the prions first and then we'll have a look at the Nipah virus. Prions. These are the small infectious pathogens which contain prion protein, which is encoded by the chromosome number 20, right? They are the ones who don't have the nucleic acid. So only 2 points you have to understand which are forming the basis of your prions. So what are prions? Prions are naturally the ones P for P, that means they have got proteins, my dear friends, but they don't have nucleic acid. So nucleic acid, N for nucleic acid, N for no nucleic acid. They don't have nucleic acid, but yes, they have got proteins and the name of their proteins is PrP, that is prion protein. Clear? Now there is one more protein which is called as 𝗓𝗵𝗵𝗴𝗿. Okay, so they have got which proteins? 𝗓𝗵 prion protein. So prion protein 𝗓𝗵 prion protein are what? They are the isomers of PrPcs only. What is PrPc? PrPc is the, yes, what is PrPc? So PrPc is something which is a membrane bound protein found in the brains of normal animals in both neuronal and non-neuronal cells. Alright. So please understand that prions, okay, I'll write it somewhere here. Yeah. So prions have got something called as PrPSc. What is PrPSc? Proteins Kp, prion proteins Kps. So these are equal to, I'm writing it here, these are equal to PrPc. Equal to PrPc means what is PrPc? PrPc is membrane bound, my dear friends. It is a membrane bound protein which is found in the brain. Okay, so what happens? Please understand, there is a resistance to PrPc, I mean resistance of PrPsc to digestion with proteases, and its tendency to polymerize attributes its role in the neurotoxicity. Now what I have to tell you that, you know, our body, or say my body, thinks that this PrPsc is same as there in PrPc, so my body does not digest it. My body does not digest the PrPsc, and once it is not digesting PrPsc, it is going to go into brain, and once it reaches the brain, it is going to do what? It is going to do polymerization. So it is going to form some polymers which are known to have a neurotoxic action. Let me quickly revise. I told you that prions have some proteins called as PrPsc, that is prion protein 𝗓𝗓, which is equal to PrPc. PrPc means a membrane bound protein which is there in your brain. Now PrPsc and PrPc are very similar in our body. So my body says I will not digest PrPsc because this is exactly what it is required by the brain. So PrPc escapes the immunity of my body, doesn't get digested, goes to the brain, polymerizes there, forms the new polymer and leads to the formation of a neurotoxic compound responsible for acting there or responsible for having their neurotoxic effect. Alright, neurotoxic effect. So see here, once again you have got PrPsc here, PrPSc is going to do what? So PrPSc is going to form some aggregates via aggregation and is responsible for causing spongiform encephalopathy. This is very, very, very important. Responsible for causing spongiform, a sponge-like, just like the sponge is having empty vacuoles, your brain is also going to have the empty vacuoles, right? Why? Because there is necrosis of the neuron which is going to happen along with some deposition of amyloid plaques. Okay, so see here what is going to happen. The brain cells are going to die. Okay, axons of brain cells are going to die, which leads to vacuole formation. That is why it is called as spongiform, sponge-like encephalopathy. All right, it's clear to you? Yes. So what is the difference between prions and viruses? Remember, viruses have got the genetic material, they have no genetic material. Then viruses are going to have antibody against them, inflammatory action against them, but prions don't have. Prions on the other hand are very powerful. So my dear friends, prions on the other end are very powerful. Why? Because they are highly resistant to heat, UV rays or formalin, whereas viruses are highly susceptible to heat and UV rays. Coming on to the further discussion, please understand that the prion diseases are neurodegenerative diseases. So these neurodegeneration have a long incubation period. That means they are going to cause the damage for a longer period of time, but the damage will be symptomless, asymptomatic for a long period of time. That is the cause that it leads to death, because once the clinical symptoms are appearing, the destruction has taken place to a very big extent. Okay, right? So my dear friends, this is the slide of the brain cells, and the brain cells have done what? Vacuolation. What are the 4-5 important prion diseases? One is Creutzfeldt disease, other is Creutzfeldt-Jakob disease, then variant Creutzfeldt-Jakob disease, then Gerstmann-Straussler syndrome, and yes, fetal familial insomnia. All right. So very, very, very important thing, one important thing which you should know, that Creutzfeldt-Jakob disease cases are responsible, or I should say are characterized by progressive mental deterioration and myoclonus. Okay, myoclonus is just it's a jerky movement, right? It's a jerky movement which sometimes even in the sleep also you get to have these jerks, right? So yeah, this is the jerky movement. Okay, all other things if you want to read you can, but these are not very important, so I am not discussing in any great detail. Coming on to the second part of this video, that is the Nipah virus, and remember this belongs to Paramyxoviridae. So just like your Paramyxovirus, just like your RSV, just like your mumps, your measles, this is also belonging to the same family, my dear friends. Remember, Paramyxoviridae, the reservoir is the fruit bat, or you call it as Pteropus species. Okay, so bats are actually called as the Pteropus only. I remember my botany teacher used to teach us, yeah, so the bats, okay, Pteropus. So coming to the transmission, remember animal to human contact is by the bats, okay, mostly, and obviously the contaminated fruit, the fruits are also being contaminated by the bats, and from there they can transfer the Nipah virus. Okay, so remember Nipah virus is coming from what? Coming from the bats. Okay, and human to human it can also go via the respiratory secretions. Via what? Via the respiratory secretions. The incubation period is for the 4 days only. All right, and clinical features, of course, acute febrile illness with headache, myalgia. It can lead to encephalitis also, and respiratory symptoms are also going to be there. All right, so remember this, these are important. Okay, the encephalitis and yes, the respiratory features which are going to be there. Then of course you have the RT-PCR, the ELISA, the virus isolation, all these things are going to happen. The supportive therapy, and yes, ribavirin can be given. Prevention is just to avoid exposure with the bats and obviously the fruits which are not good, which are contaminated. So F for fruits, my dear, and F for 4 also, so you can remember by this. And coming on to this mnemonic of NBER, this is a mnemonic, and actually the full mnemonic is NUMBER. So what is ER? E for encephalitis, R for respiratory system symptoms, N for Nipah virus, B for bats, right? So all these things are important, right? So this is it for this lecture. Thank you so much, and I hope that this was useful to you. God bless you, and meet you in the next lecture.